Shabbat Shalom. Kahalo Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Bahashim Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. The Shabbat Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to you. All right, so we're going to start here. I think we did this yesterday too, but here we are. We'll go a little more in depth. Jeremiah 51 and 28. Start at the King James. Prepare against her. Against who? Against Babylon. Okay? Babylon. Let's see. Against Babylon. All right? The land of Babylon. All right? And that's talking about America. What does this say? Babylon's punishment. All right? America is everywhere. In everybody's business. Okay? And if you don't like the truth, then you ain't going to like what God is doing presently. All right? God is the one launching this campaign. God is the one giving the command. Prepare. Okay? Against her. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. The Medes are Russia. The kings are Vladimir Putin, Medvedev, right? General Armageddon. These are the kings of the Medes. And the captains, I guess the general would be a captain thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. Let's read it up here. Prepare the nations for battle against her. Against who? Babylon. The kings of the Medes, their governors, and all their officials, and all the countries they rule. What countries, once upon a time, did they rule? They were under something called the Soviet Union, which is all including the Ukraine. Okay? And as far as Russia's concerned, they still rule that country. It's their home. It's like saying that Cuba isn't part of the United States. It's like saying Ephraim, where is that? Rich port. Puerto Rico. It's like saying Puerto Rico or that Hawaii isn't part of the United States. It's ridiculous. Okay? NLT, bring against her the armies of the nation. Bring against who? Against her is the United States. The armies of the nations led by the kings of the Russians and all their captains and officers. Prepare the nations for war against her. Okay? The kings of the Medes with their governors and deputies. And all the lands they rule. Okay? So when you read in King James, prepare against her the nations, right? Up here is prepare the nations for battle. Prepare against her the armies. See? Armies of the nations. Okay? Right here, prepare against her the nation. That sounds kind of cool. But up here, the armies of the nations, then you understand what's going on. Okay? This is what God is doing. Right? Babylon's punishment. From who? The Most High is sending it. Okay? Let's read this real quick. For many nations and great kings will enslave them, and I will repay them according to their deeds and according to the work of their hands. All right? Going mainly into Edom, but in this case, Babylon or America is leading the charge right now. That's why the Most High is stirring up. See, the God, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is putting his spirit on these Russians. They say the mercenaries, the people that wanted to go help the Ukrainians. Oh, I'm going to fight. They were there for 2 weeks and they ran the fuck out of there like bitches. As soon as they went into battle with those Russians, they were like, oh no, I don't have to do this. I am not contracted by anybody. I don't have to do this. I can choose not to. They got the hell up out of there. All right, so anyway, I'm going to go to Redacted. I picked a little spot. I'm going to let them speak for a while, and I'm going to try to keep this short. But this is what's going on, okay? This thing is not going to slow down, right, until God has achieved, exactly what it is that he wants. And that is the destruction of Babylon. Babylon is fallen. This is Redacted channel. It's official. They're all full of shite. Redacted with Natalie and Clayton Morris. All right. The West doesn't appear interested in Putin's claims of a dirty thing. Democrats lie straight to our faces about wanting peace in Ukraine. And General Betrayus calls for a full U.S. invasion of Ukraine. Okay. Will we ever learn who blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? It's pretty clear Babylon did it. Anyway, let's listen to this.
Well, we've got more news to get to. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. Shall we talk about the very latest? Let's talk about the latest in Ukraine, because just a few moments ago, right before we started, the Russian army has launched a massive barrage of weapons attacks into central Ukraine.
And why? What's going on? God, the one you call God, whose name is Yahweh, put his spirit on these Russians to do everything that they're doing. And when what they call the West, which is NATO, the EU, and that whore Babylon, try to escalate and try to match power, the Most High is going to stir the Medes up even more. And this thing is going to keep escalating until all hell breaks out. Okay? And you can dispatch Kanye West and the neo-Nazis in America and do everything you can to distract from what's going on. But all of it is part of the same battle. What's going on in America, right? They have to do something here, all right, to shield. You got the 101 screaming chickens over in wherever they're at right now. Okay, about to go in. If they're not already in there, okay, this is what they're distracted from, right? So they're throwing everything they got at the wall right now.
Of course, most of the country is already in darkness. It appears things are starting to heat up overnight. Here are the air raid sirens and attacks just a few minutes ago before our show started. Listen. This is caught on security camera. You can hear the air raids in the background. And so, this is in central Ukraine, and again, attacks happening in different locations. Now, there are reports at this hour too that the Russian army preparing for the larger invasion, the larger attack, still waiting for the ground to freeze before that unfolds, before that happens. And there's continued shelling that's been happening into Russian territory. Patrick Lancaster's been doing some great reporting on that. Really horrific bombings that have been taking place across the border. So this is about to get worse before it gets better, and there doesn't seem to be any discussion about peace. That ship has already sailed from Washington. So a couple of big updates on the NATO-led war in Ukraine that we want to bring you. First, let's start with Al Qaeda. Some major news tonight. Of course, we've been covering the fact that Al Qaeda and ISIS terrorists are now being recruited by NATO and Ukrainian government to come fight in Ukraine.
Letting you know that any fighting man can be paid, like Al Qaeda has for years, to play their role wherever they have been. They get paid from our government. That's nothing new. Okay? If it's your job to be a mercenary or whatever, you can go overseas and they will, basically hire you. And it's nothing new. He's going to make some jokes here about Al Qaeda and, the payment plan. And there's, what is it? Your vacation pay and PTO and things of that. So,
This is a new story to you. Like, raise your hand if this is new information to you. Like, you're going to say, wait a second, what? Al Qaeda and ISIS are now fighting in Ukraine, being recruited by NATO and Ukrainian forces to fight. Yeah, that's happening. We've covered it. It's well documented now. They're being paid thousands of dollars per month as a stipend from your tax dollars to do this, by the way. Who do you think's paying for this? This is a U.S. funded, NATO funded slush fund that's being able to divvy this money out. It's coming right from your tax dollars. So if you can't pay your energy bill this month, be heartened to know that your money is going to this. We told you this 2 weeks ago. We covered it on the show. In fact, we featured one of the Al Qaeda soldiers who was talking on camera about how much money he was being paid. And we showed you that guy.
Yes, he talked about where he had come from, how he got there, who his funders were, and who his, I don't want to use the word coworkers. What's the
coworkers? It's like I clocked in today at Al Qaeda. Where do you work? Oh, I work at Al Qaeda headquarters.
Great benefits.
Yeah,
there.
They have a great lunchroom.
You get 40 virgins when you bomb yourself.
A great lunchroom. They have all sorts of perks. I wonder if they get 2 weeks off at Al Qaeda. When you come work for Al Qaeda, you get 2 weeks off and benefits. So we just got word this afternoon from an Iraqi newspaper. This is amazing. We're actually getting news from Iraqi journalists, Iraqi newspapers. So this is an Iraqi newspaper on the number of terrorists who are now leaving Syria, heading into Ukraine, and they will be paid for with your tax dollars. The Iraq edition of Al Alarm reports that dozens of Al Qaeda-linked militants have left for Ukraine from the Syrian province of Idlib to participate in hostilities against Russia.
What's going on here? The Most High is gathering the troops. He's gathering the armies, okay, which is going to it's going to result in what they call Armageddon, or the Valley of Jehoshaphat, if you will, in that last great battle, the Battle of Armageddon. Right? So gathering. See the gathering? Dozens of Al Qaeda militants have left for Ukraine. That's them from the Syrian province where they're being paid by the Russians to fight in Syria, province of Idlib, to participate in hostilities. Okay, well, Salakia. Al Qaeda gets paid by America, Babylon. They're being now redirected, redeployed, if you will, to go fight against the Russians. Okay. The Russians use the Chechens and all of their old homies too. So we're just seeing the gathering.
Here's the paper. The newspaper says the number of terrorists who've left Idlib for Ukraine over the past 2 weeks is estimated at more than 70 terrorists, including Al-Qaeda leaders such as Abdul Hakim al-Sashini.
And we call them terrorists, but we hand them money. We don't negotiate with terrorists, but we will cut you a fat check if you go over here and pull triggers for the U.S. of A.
Many of these groups might sound familiar to you in Syria and Libya because the United States funded these groups and met with these groups, shook hands with these groups and these leaders. Here is Senator John McCain and Senator Lindsey Graham shaking hands with Al-Qaeda leader Abdel Hakim.
Here's the proof right here, going all the way back. See, this dude that they call, what do they call him? Songbird McCain, going back to Vietnam War when he was telling all the secrets. When his plane got shot down and he was a POW, they called him Songbird McCain. All right, he's been dead for about 4 or 5 years now.
Him a nice prize for helping.
And there he is. So how old is this? There's Lindsey Graham. There's the songbird. His ass is down, right? And they're paying and promoting Al Qaeda.
Part in helping to destroy Libya. Like, here's what you get. Thank you, Mr. Al Qaeda, for helping to destroy Libya. Here is Senator McCain when he went to Syria in 2013 to meet with ISIS and Al Qaeda fighters there. Take a look at this. Republican Senator McCain in his secret trip to Syria in 2013 to meet with freedom fighters.
This is who we were supposed to be fighting for years in Afghanistan. Or we're fighting against that? No, we're not. We're paying them. And then when we left, when we got the hell up out of Afghanistan, quick, fast, and in a hurry, what did we do? We left all of that gear for our allies. Look at this, 2013. It's about 10 years, yeah? About 10 years, yeah? Look at this. All right? And this is not new news. If this is news to you, you have not been paying attention. If you don't know that everything is the opposite of what this devil puts forth, we can start with Yahushua. Yahushua is not Caesar Borgia. He's not a soft, effeminate Edomite. He's an austere, angry, he's the original angry black man who's coming back to kill. He's not coming back to hand out daisies. He's coming back to sprinkle his garments with blood. He's going to kill somebody. All right.
Al-Qaeda operative Abu Musa, now an ISIS press officer. So he moved up. He moved from Al-Qaeda. He got promoted. Mm-hmm. He's now handling public relations for ISIS. ISIS Caliph Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi trained with Israel with American tax dollars. So that's good. Your tax dollars went to train him up. Mohammed Noor, suspect in the kidnapping of 3 hostages, shown in ISIS videos, awful ISIS videos, by the way. So that's who the American Senate is hanging out with.
America doesn't negotiate with terrorists. We don't negotiate. We train them up and put them on the battlefield.
All these good guys. So this funding has never stopped. Anyone who's been following the story knows that the United States has been funding Al-Qaeda for years. We started many, many years ago, of course, in the late 1970s under Jimmy Carter, and it continued under Reagan. So this funding has never stopped. The U.S. continues to use Al-Qaeda in Syria and other countries, and
but
now
at least,
more of them.
According to this graphic, they are trained. This one in the middle trained in Israel with American tax dollars, whereas most of the reports we're getting out of the Ukrainian army is that they are untrained. Most of their trained forces were wiped out early in the conflict in the spring.
So that is a good silver lining, yeah.
Who do they have left?
They trained bin Laden. Bin Laden was with the CIA. Bin Laden used to work with America. They gave him and his troops all kind of money over there in Afghanistan, and then they turned on him. Same thing with this guy, Saddam Hussein. Used to work with and for the United States. So when they screamed out weapons of mass destruction, well, who gave you the weapons of mass destruction? We know you got them because we gave them to you. That's the only thing they didn't say. And he had gotten rid of them a long time before. America knew it, but that was their way to get in and steal the oil or whatever else they were taking when they went directly to the Museum of Artifacts. Okay, look into that.
Untrained civilians. So if they need to pull in some guys who know what they're doing, well,
That's why I love my wife. She always tries to find the silver lining.
I'm being slightly facetious, but okay. I do think it is a point.
It is a point.
They have a very low amount of skilled fighters left.
No, and that is true. Like we covered last week or 2 weeks ago, these fighters coming from Syria are hardened fighters. They've been paid for by the United States.
I'm not advocating at all. I'm just saying.
No,
you know what it makes them? Paid for, trained by the United States? It makes them Americans. Al-Qaeda are Americans fighting for America. This dude, a jet goes by. That's the sound of freedom. The sound of freedom are your freedom fighters, Al Qaeda, who you think are your enemies, but they're actually fight for your so-called freedom. It dumbass.
I know you're being funny, but they're hardened fighters. They're veterans, and they're fighting against the Bashar al-Assad government. So these are hardened American trained fighters.
Yes.
That we've been funding Al Qaeda.
Now, when he says they're fighting against the Bashar government, no, that's called the Syrian government. So America, this is what they do. You go over, you get some fighters, you pay them, and you go to overthrow a country. That's what happened in Korea. That's what happened in Iran. Okay? It's been happening. That's what happened in Iraq. All right? It happens wherever you go. You got the same MO. And this time, the Most High is like, okay, this thing is coming to an end.
ISIS. So they're teaming up.
It happened in the Ukraine, right? 2013, the coup. It was happening 8 years before that. It's the same story. You gotta wake up.
Now they're teaming up with NATO and Ukraine. So welcome to the battlefield. Unbelievable.
And are they doing this just because they believe in democracy, or are they getting paid very well?
First of all, they don't believe in democracy. Remember George W. Bush said they hate our freedoms. They hate our freedoms. They hate our freedoms.
So then we're just paying them very well.
They like our money.
Well, again, we shouldn't tell them what they think or feel, but it seems the reporting is that the funding continues.
Right. Thousands of dollars a month. So I'm going to go with money. I'm going to go with that they like money.
I will end it right there. The point is this, and we'll close. Okay, we'll go right here to Joel. What's going on? The Most High works in a mysterious way, but His word does not come back void. Joel 3:9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. This is what we're watching right now. Give them some money, call them the bad guy, NIV. Proclaim this among the nations, prepare war, rouse the warriors, let all the fighting men draw near and attack. Say to the nations far and wide, get ready for war, call out your best warriors. Well, our best warriors happen to be Al Qaeda. Let all your fighting men advance for the attack. Consecrate for war, stir up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near. Okay? This is what we're watching. For what? For World War III. Revelation 11:14. The second woe has passed. Second woe meaning World War II. Behold, the third woe is coming shortly. All right, so with that, we hope that the elect will edify you, brothers and few sisters. With that, we're going to say Shabbat Shalom.